So I know that I need to be able to talk about ACT Foundation, but I see that working with nonprofits for over 10 years now, I've realized that there are certain key things that are similar across all grants making organizations. When the representative from ASEW was talking, I could see the similarities between what we require. But I know that there are certain differences here and there. So I'll tell you a bit about ACT Foundation and what we require. But I want to quickly just take 5 minutes of my time. I talk generally about things that you should do when you're considering accessing grants from any organization. I'm going to take just 5 minutes and run through that. Right. So accessing grants is about fundraising. That's, you know that, right? So either you're writing to ASEW, Ford Foundation, ACT Foundation, any other foundation, or even to corporate organizations, you're actually trying to raise funds for your initiative. And the truth is that fundraising is all about marketing, right? So it's important that you have that at the back of your mind, that you're coming to ACT Foundation or to ASEW or to any other grant maker, you're coming to market yourself and market your project, right? It is important for you to know that the financial sustainability of your organization is key, and is the most valuable part of strengthening your operations. So you remember when so the lady from ASEW was talking, I can't remember her name. She mentioned your budget, those things are important, right? So the true purpose of trying to raise funds or access grants is not just about raising money. It's about building relationships. It's about building a relationship where you have ongoing support from your donors. So it's important to know that. Now, what do donors want? A lot of times we come into these relationships with what we want to achieve as implementing organizations. I've had the privilege of working for a number of organizations that implement projects, and we always come with what we want to the table. It's important that we now look at it from the reverse. What do donors want? Right? And here just 5 key things that I just pulled out today is important for you to know what donors want, right? What donors want: strong institutional capacity of the organization. They want strong governance and management structure. They want to see your track record. They want to see your reputation on the field. So they're going to be checking all of that in the process of selecting you or thinking through who they should fund. And then they want to see the proposal. How realistic is it, right? Now, funding bodies have their own way of working, right? ASEW has told you how they work. I'm going to tell you a bit of what we also require. But the truth is that we have similar methods of achieving our decision, getting to select who we are going to fund. Right. Now, we are not just looking at you from the end of who we work with now, selecting you based on your project now. We are putting our reputation on the line in funding you. Because when we give you that funding, we are trusting that you're going to go into this community, you're going to make impact. So it's important that you protect your reputation, because it's going to speak for you when you go looking for grants. Right. So the things that motivate us as donors, right? Number one thing everybody would say is the impact. What impact are you going to make? What is the change that you're going to create? Right? But some other things that you need to look at is your governance. And when we say governance, we're not saying do you have a board. We're saying what is the structure that you have in place to actually run your organization. Right? Are you an accountable organization? Are you a transparent organization? Do you have standard operating procedures in place? What are the policies that you have in place? Because what part is governance? Right? Then who are the executive team who are going to be implementing the program? Who is on your board now? Who is your CEO? That is important, right? Your legal status, right? Are you actually registered in the country that you're implementing the intervention in? I've mentioned already your track record. That's very important. In this year of COVID, that COVID has totally put us in a box. You found a lot of people that maybe used to do interventions maybe in the area of maybe environment. You found that because funding has sort of shifted to health interventions, you find people all wanting to do health interventions, right? Great, you may have some brilliant ideas, but the funders are looking at your track record. Have you done such before? How have you done it? What was the success of it? Right, then your online media presence is also very important. So ensure that your social media handles are on top, you're on top of the game on that, and that you'll be putting information of things that you've been doing. Your financial records, I'm sure I can't talk enough about that. You already know. Then what is your sustainability plan, right? If you do not get funding anymore, what happens? Then when you now get the funding, reporting, right? What have you worked with other donors? That's also very important. I'm not going to go through this. I'm sure I've used up more of my 5 minutes, but I'm going to share this slide with the team, and so that way I'm sure you're going to be able to get it. Research is very important. Before you decide you want to apply for exam, please research the donor. Have a better understanding of who they are, what they want, right? What are their own little quirks here and there that they have, because those are where the differences come in, and ensure that we're using the standard that they have set for their grant making, and not just what somebody else, what another organization has used in the past. A lot of times we always hear, oh, when we work with international organizations, this is what they request for. Yes, they'll have their own standards, but because we work in country and we work across Africa, we know that there are certain differences here and there. There are certain lessons that we've learned that has made us set our criteria the way it is. So just try to comply with all of that. Right. So now let me go straight into Art Foundation. I hope I've not used over my 5 minutes. So now I'm going to spend the last 5 minutes talking about art and what we do and how we do it. So we are an indigenous grant making organization. We are about 4 years old. We're going to be 5 next year. And we're very excited about the opportunities that we've been able to provide to the sector across Africa. Since inception, we have funded 72 unique non-profit organizations. Right. So when Adeyemi had mentioned 102, those were initiatives, because some of the organizations that are here, we have funded them over multiple years. And they have been doing great work. And through the 72 organizations, we have been able to reach over 1.9 million beneficiaries across Africa. And we're hoping that by our 5th year, we'll be able to tell you exactly what the impact has been through the funding that we have provided over the years. Now, we have 4 focus areas, and we keep it very simple. We fund projects in health. Those projects are typically malaria, maternal and child health, and cancer prevention interventions. In enterprise, we fund vocational education, so any sort of vocational skills acquisition and financial literacy. My apologies for the error in spelling there. Financial inclusion and financial literacy, we fund interventions in that area. In leadership, we support youth development and thought leadership. And in environment, we support water and sanitation and waste management. As I said, interventions are typically across Africa. We're a young organization, so you'll find that a number of our grantees have been in Nigeria, but over the years, we have been spreading out to a few other African countries. To date, we have supported 5 initiatives in 5 African countries, including excluding Nigeria, so about 6 African countries. So we're spreading, and we're hoping that one of these days we will get to your own country if we're not there yet. So we have 3 stages in our grant cycle. We have the call for application stage, which is typically a form that we put out on all our social media through different platforms, inviting people to apply. Now, that first stage is for us to first understand who you are, right, and what your ask is, right? So in our call for application, sometimes most of the time, to get thousands of applications. From that call for application, we sieve out those that best fit our strategic objectives, and then we invite those that best fit to send in a proposal. We have a call for proposal phase as well. Now, in the call for proposal phase, what you find that a lot of people expect you to just send the proposal, design your proposal, and send it in. But over the past 4 years of doing this, we've realized that some people would engage grant writers to support them in writing their proposals, and sometimes it gives them an unfair advantage over those that are not able to afford it. So we created a template to help guide, so everybody sort of knows exactly what we will be looking at. So that call for proposal is sent to the organizations that are successful. And then our proposals are not reviewed internally by any staff member. We work with external consultants to provide support, and they actually review those and provide us feedback. And based on that feedback, we then invite the best organizations based on the feedback from the external consultants for an interview. And that stage is so important. But once you get to the interview stage, you need your proposal is great. You need they are very interested in the work you do. But now we are going to be working with you for about a year, right? So we want to get to know you. So who do we fund? We typically will fund social enterprises and NGOs across Africa. We do an annual funding. That doesn't mean that we will fund you across multiple years, but we'll end the funding in that grant cycle, which is typically a maximum of 12 months. And then you can reapply again. And if you've done great work with us, definitely we'll be happy to fund you a second year. So these eligibility criteria, it's on our website. It's very clearly there on our website. Is that what I'm going to say that it's important that we take some time to go and look at what we are asking for. We are not asking for too much, right? We need that you are at least 2 years, you've been in existence for at least 2 years, right? We know that we want you to at least learn some lessons, make mistakes without it costing us. Because as I said, funding is an investment for us. So we want to make sure that we do not lose out on that. And so things that I want you to note, which I hope I've mentioned, is that in this is a relationship. So when you are asking for grants or you're reaching out to potential funders, it's a courtship, it's a relationship. So get to know who your donor is, right? Now, please, when a lot of times when we go to ask, you can see this is the first time you're asking for funding from an organization, you ask for $1 million to implement an intervention. Start small, right? It's usually better. When you build a relationship, then you can increase your ask. Remember that the proposal you're sending is a persuasion document. So ensure that you're able to tell stories through your document, that we can see the connection. Always ask questions when in doubt. Send emails, call the organization and ask the question. Integrity is everything, right? In this sector, we have seen so many mistakes, so many fraudulent organizations. So integrity is important. We are giving you a grant, it's not charity. So please ensure that you realize that it's not free money. There's nothing free in Freetown. So please know that it's actually a grant, and we expect that we're able to deliver impact exactly as you've stated.